All right, Jason, thank you for doing this interview for In Dark Purity. How are you doing?
Having me. Very good. Thank you very much. How are you doing there, Alex?
Pretty good. You've been touring Asia for a while. Which countries have you been to? And what can you say about the people, the culture, the food?
It's been fantastic. I'm kind of on the beginning of the journey now. I'm trying to go for about a year throughout Southeast Asia, but I have been to Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, and now here in beautiful Singapore. And the culture has been fantastic. The people have been fantastic. Better than I had expected. The food has been wonderful. It's been actually just a pretty amazing journey so far.
Okay, the Philippines organized a tribute show for you. How does that make you feel?
It was very overwhelming, to be honest. The Focus album was released 25 years ago, Monstrosity 26, and Gordian, geez, I think 10 years after that, so 15 or so years after that. I really didn't believe that there was such a fan base for metal still in the Philippines, but Philippines are hardcore, man, and it was an amazing experience. But yeah, kind of overwhelming. It was not what I was expecting to show up and happen.
That's good to hear. Going back to your beginnings musically, what made you want to play the guitar?
I guess what made me want to play the guitar was my mother was very young, always listening to music, always had the radio on, and I was just fascinated by music, and I was always trying to decipher what the different sounds and what they were coming from. And I guess to make it pretty simple, 1978, I was about 8 years old when I started playing. I saw a commercial for a Kiss concert. And when I saw the smoking guitars and spitting blood and shooting fire, I thought, man, that's what I want to do. And that's what kind of started the journey of being a musician right there.
And how did you join Cynic? From some zines that I've read, I understand that your brother has a band and that you're playing a show with Cynic, and that he asked if you're looking for a guitar player.
Absolutely. In Miami, they used to have keg parties, and they would do them kind of on the outskirts of the city, and they would just stack up bands, and they would start like 5 o'clock, and it would just go all night. And Cynic actually had just kind of gotten together. It was Paul, Sean, Mark Van Erp, and Jack Kelly, and they actually played the set before my brother's band. So when my brother went to set up, he, I think, approached Paul and was like, bro, my brother plays that Pissed Off Music that you play. Are you guys looking for another guitarist?
Pissed Off Music.
Pissed Off Music, which I think is what he said. And they actually were. So after my brother's set, he got Paul and walked him over to me. I was there supporting my brother's band, and introduced me to Paul and Sean. It was actually that I met, and from there we started talking.
Do you remember your first shows with Cynic?
Yes, the first show actually was, if I remember correctly, Miami Beach. Was it Miami Beach or Coral Gables? But it was a Kitchen Club was the name of the club, and it was kind of a dance club. And we had set up. We had a pretty good turnout. The metal scene was going pretty good, or starting off pretty good. And it was nerve-wracking, of course, always. It wasn't my first time playing live, but it was my first time playing with the band. But we were always pretty rehearsed and pretty practiced, so it was a good show. It was a good start.
I actually love the Cynic demos more than Focus, to be honest. And I think for me, the demo 1991 is the definitive Cynic release. Tell us more about the demos, your memories on recording them.
Yeah, and just to let you know, you're not the only person that has said that or felt that.
I knew it.
No, you know it, man. There are some of the more hardcore fans that enjoyed the heavier side of Cynic. A lot of them felt that the 1991 demo was kind of the pinnacle of the sound before we kind of went in a different direction. but the demos were that was where we were at the time, you know, and we were. I guess our goal was always to still be original, you know, and not really copy many sounds. And I think we were already still kind of a technical band, and always pushed ourselves to be proficient at our instruments. So it was fun recording them. The actual 1991 demo was paid for by Roadrunner Records in the interest of us signing and doing the actual recording from Focus.
Then,
so it was a good experience.
Moving on to Focus. I don't know, man. I love and hate it at the same time. I love Focus because to me it was more than a statement. I mean, you guys did what you want and you didn't care. And basically it's a masterpiece.
Thank you.
I hate it because it made me hate myself for loving it. Because as mentioned to you earlier, I do not like any sort of melody in my metal. But Cynic became an exception. Please tell us more about the recording process, writing process of Focus.
You know, the actual the writing process was the same. It's just we had more parts that we were writing, and we had different, you know, clean sounds and heavy sounds and all that. So the writing process pretty much stayed the same, except for we were just changing the actual dynamics of it by increasing, you know, the amount of clean parts and gaining more contrast by adding the clean and the heavy parts together, and the guitar synths added more color, and so on and so forth. The recording process was a bit different, you know, because we did have a lot more going on. Then we added the computer vocals. So the recording process did become somewhat of a challenge. We had so much going on. It was a challenge for Scott Burns to actually be able to help us hear all the instruments and hear all the different parts going on. So it was a bit more of a dynamic recording process than just doing the demos, which was straight rhythms, heavy sounds, go for it, blaze it out, and put the tracks down, I guess, you know.
Then after I think a year after the release of Focus, Cynic disbanded. What happened?
Well, we had a really hard run. When Focus came out, there was a lot of challenges. One, we ended up doing our tours with, European tour was first. We did that with Pestilence, and Pestilence broke up mid-tour. So we had lost a whole half of the leg of the tour. Many countries that we were supposed to hit, we didn't get to play. So that was kind of bad. Also, there was an issue with the pressing of the album, and they had a misprint or something. So when we were touring, you were supposed to have the album in the record companies so you can play, hopefully people like what you're playing, and then go to the store and buy it. So that was a challenge, and that didn't happen. And then the American tour we did with Cannibal Corpse. Great friends, you know, same with Pestilence, wonderful guys, but different music, very different, and the Cannibal crowd did not always accept us, you know, especially when we started blazing out textures and songs like that. So it was a challenging tour at times, and Focus did take a while to catch on. So by the time we got back, we had felt like there was really, you know, not much hope for us to really get much support. The record company didn't support us too much either, so that's actually when we kind of disbanded as Cynic, and then that's kind of when we started heading towards trying something new.
Which goes to my next question. You were in Portal and Gordian after Cynic, but I have to be honest with you, those two projects are too musical for me. And I honestly didn't check them out as much as I did with Cynic, but
sure,
can you please tell us more about these two bands?
Yeah. Well, Portal was when we finished with Focus. We didn't get the best response. The album was taking a while to catch on, and we said, you know what? Let's try something completely different. Let's do a 180, go a different direction. Let's try and do something radio friendly. one solo per song, you know, just clean vocals, no metal vocals, and what you got was Portal. And we had actually got interest. We had Atlantic Records was interested in us and was shopping us a little bit, and we thought we had a shot at doing something, I guess, a little more commercial, that we could maybe make some money and get some better support. But we couldn't get released from the Roadrunner Records contract. We had a 7-album deal with Roadrunner, and we were stuck with them for 7 years. And at that point, Atlantic lost interest, and we had just completely lost interest and said, you know, it's time to just call it quits.
I almost forgot, you also played for Monstrosity on Imperial Doom. How was the experience?
That was awesome. I mean, the Monstrosity boys, they're some fun guys. I mean, Mark Van Erp was our old bass player, so he's was a great friend, and Lee Harrison was always around. You know, he was in the next warehouse with Monstrosity. They were right by us, so we knew each other real well. John Rubin, same thing, you know, played with Malevolent, and I mean, all these guys were like brothers to us. And they came up to me and they were like, listen, we need someone to play. Would you be interested? Would you do us a favor and you know, jump in the band? Well, at that point, Sean and Paul were working with Death, and I'm not sure, Tony was working with either ACDS or Pestilence at the time, and I had some free time, so I was like, hell yeah, man, let's do this. And it was a great experience. Those guys are awesome, and for the real death metal fans out there, it was definitely
Monstrosity.
Straight down the pipes, baby. I mean, just...
Were you able to play live with them?
Once.
Milwaukee
Metal Fest. I can't tell you the year, but we drove up for the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I got one show with them, was all we did. And you had asked earlier about Gordian Knot, which I didn't mention either. Gordian Knot was kind of that was a Sean Malone project. He had gotten a deal, and Sean Malone was also not the biggest in the pure death metal. He was more in the prog metal and all that, and that was kind of his project. He had asked me to play on it, and I was honored to play on it. So it was a great album. There's some great players on there, but again, in a different direction, more of a progressive metal type approach.
When Cynic reformed in 2006, were you asked to join?
Yes, they did ask, and I guess one of the first problems we had was, again, you know, we were trying to survive off the music at that point. We were trying to live off of it. When they were asked to do the reunion tour, at that point I was working full-time. I had a daughter in college, and I had a son already in school, and it was down to one question. Listen, I can't leave. I cannot leave my family and just forget about my duties unless I can afford to at least pay for my mortgage and, you know, pay for my kids while I'm gone. Sure, they would allow me to take a break, but is basically the money there? Will we be able to make any money and survive off of it? And again, it was a no. You know, I actually would have considered it, but it was family first, and I couldn't just ditch my family like that to go. I mean, touring's fun, man, you know, but you've got to pay the bills, and when you have kids, they're first, you know.
I wanted to ask you your thoughts with the post-Focus releases. Trace and Air personally was the last record I bought from them. The music is killer, no doubt about that, but it is too mellow for my liking.
Kind of the same. To be honest, I listened to Trace in Air maybe once or twice, and same thing. It was musically good. Everything was good, but they were definitely heading in a different direction than I wanted to be. I always liked The Edge, and I do remember even when we disbanded as Cynic, and even somewhat on the Portal was a big change for me. You know, it didn't have the edge that I was looking for, and I was willing to give it a try, but not as Cynic. You know, for me, Cynic was Cynic was Focus, and that wasn't the direction that I wanted to go to. So I listened to Trace and Air. I thought it was great, it was musical, but when I listened to it, I knew I had made the right decision on not continuing with the band, because I would have liked a little more edge to it and to retain the heaviness. I didn't want to head the mellower route. I didn't want to go heavier either, but I didn't want to lose that edge. So I kind of called it good there, and wished them the best of luck, and no hard feelings, and that was about the last. So I really didn't even listen to much of anything after that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, no offense.
Yeah,
no offense, guys.
Well, do you have any plans to be in a band again and make music again?
Well, things are changing. That's actually a new question and an interesting one for me. No would have been the answer even a few weeks ago. But I have to say, going to the Philippines and seeing this event and being a part of it has definitely sparked some interest for me to get back into the music scene. Again, you Filipinos, man, you're hardcore, and it's not even into the death metal or the speed metal. It may even be a totally different style, but the amount of talent in the Philippines and just being exposed to all that, and it just really kind of sparked an itch. And I'm in a different place right now. I'm in a different part of my life. My kids are now grown up. I am now no longer married, so I kind of have a little more time and a little bit more ability. So it really sparked an interest for me, and I think that there could be some things to come here. It's something I'm already talking to a few people about. So we're gonna see what can happen, but it's a really big possibility to have something come out somewhat soon.
Well, that's basically all I've got, so I really want to thank you for this interview. And is there anything else that you want to say to your fans?
Well, first, let me thank you for taking the time to give me an interview, Alex. It's been great to talk to you, and actually great to hang out with you today and spend some time with you. And with the fans, thank you for your support, man. It's been many years. I'm blown away that there's still so much support for Cynic and for the music that I've done. And I really hope to put some new music out there for you and see what the future holds. So thank you for your support, and we'll see you again for sure.
Thanks.
Cheers, buddy.